Welcome back, everyone, as we continue with the MSG 150 at home. Bill Pidto and Steve Valiquette now joined by Mike Keenan and Coach. It is so great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here with you guys in a virtual world, but enjoying our safety.
Coach, tell us about this all-in challenge that is being put up for auction with you and some of the players you coached on the team that won the Cup back in 1994.
Well, let's first of all set the premise. They better be a good bid because they're going to play a championship team. And we're going to be ready for it. A great event and a great cause. So hopefully sometime in the future we'll be able to get this together. And certainly the opponent better be sharp because I'll make sure our guys are raring to go like they were in '94.
You can go on NewYorkRangers.com to remind everybody to place a bid on the auction item, which is all to raise money for those on the front lines of this pandemic. Steve, go ahead.
Yeah, Mike, the Stanley Cup Reunion, the 25-year reunion was last season at MSG. There was one thing that surprised me. You took the goal stick and you hooked Healy and Richter at center ice. That surprised you?
Well, it was the last opportunity I had to pull them at the same time. So they were accustomed to that stick movement, but I hadn't done it for a long time. I think they got a kick out of it.
Coach, if you had a team right now during this period of time, how would you handle things with this break and then with the potential of a restart, or in many ways overriding all of this, the uncertainty of what would happen with your team?
Well, first of all, they can prepare themselves physically and emotionally, mentally by training. In most cases, they have their own individual gymnasiums or their gyms or their at-home opportunities. Depends on where they are and what climate they're in. For example, the folks in Phoenix, I guess, are enjoying some nice weather and they can go out and work out outside. But these athletes today, they look after themselves nutritionally and then, of course, physically. So that's the first premise. The second premise would be the difficulty of assembling the group and the amount of time that you may have to prepare before the next portion of the season indoor playoffs begin. The difference between this setting as opposed to a lockout setting or an earlier setting where the season was shut down is that the players could go on their own, find some ice surface and play shinny or pick up or work out, but now they can't. So you're going to have to work on their skill development, their feeling for the game immediately, and then the team building as well. So it's going to be challenging, but everyone's in the same situation. And I would think that most of the players are keeping and maintaining their fitness and their preparation in terms of a comeback opportunity.
Mike, I was wondering if there's anybody coaching in today's NHL that reminds you either of a younger coach, Mike Keenan, or an experienced coach, somebody that maybe reminds you of your style at all.
Probably the Rangers fans would appreciate this, but John Tortorella certainly doesn't fall too far from the demands that I put on players.
Torts has pulled me before, Mike.
Pardon me?
Torts has pulled me before.
Oh, yeah. So that's a normal operation. Don't feel badly about it. It's nothing personal. But I would suggest he's probably as close as one could be to the style that I employed when I was coaching.
So, Coach, coming up later tonight on our network, we have our classic games, and we're going to take everyone back to December of '91 when the Rangers took on the Whalers. In that game for the Rangers, 3 future Hall of Famers, Brian Leetch, who that year won the Norris Trophy in '91-92, Mark Messier, and Mike Gartner. You ended up coaching all 3 with the Rangers and many other Hall of Famers. Do you handle Hall of Famers? Did you handle Hall of Famers differently from other players? What was it like coaching players of that type of skill?
Well, actually, Bill, they were easy to coach. They're so self-motivated. Their preparation, their professionalism, their love for the game, their passion to play. comes out very clearly. So it wasn't the stars that were difficult to coach. All you do is make sure you give them the ice time that they deserved and they worked for. It was the guys that were on the fourth line who thought they should be on the first line that were a little bit more difficult. But yeah, Mess was exceptional, as everyone knows, in terms of what he could contribute every night on and off the ice. And Brian Leach, exceptionally talented player who could really ignite the team in a position and a player that you need on every championship team. You need a top defenseman. And Mike Gardner, a pure goal scorer with great speed, could ignite the offense as well. So I had the privilege of coaching many, maybe more than any other coach, Hall of Famers. And that's what makes you a good coach, the best players.
Mike, I was wondering about your philosophy on pulling goalies. You had the nickname Iron Mike or Captain Hook. Sometimes I'm wondering, is it something you saw in the days leading up to that game? Is it something that you knew had to be changed for the team, or were you just going for the win?
Well, there are very many variables. I would, first of all, talk to the goaltenders before the season. When I first came into the league, most coaches were playing their goaltenders 50-50, and I said to myself, why would you do that? If one player is better than the other, or one goaltender is better than the other, you should play them more. So I would sit down and give you an example. When I first went to Philadelphia, my introduction into the league, and Pelle Lindbergh was a goalie, I had great respect for him. I took him for lunch in the summer. I said, Pelle, no matter what, you're our number one goaltender. He said, I am? I said, absolutely, because I believe in you, trust you, and you're capable. So another example would be Eddie Belfour. When I went to Chicago, not overlooking Hexie, but I played Hexie a lot too in Philly. But I said, Eddie, would you prefer to play 65, 75% of the games and be pulled from time to time? And I said, the rationale could be A, you're not spot on every night, which not everyone is. B, the team's not doing well, or they're fluttering, or they need a change or a boost, or I'm doing it to boost. C, sometimes I wanted to take a timeout to reprimand the officiating and or to take a timeout to talk to the team. Or maybe we were in a losing position and time and score was a factor, and I'd say, well, I'm going to pull the goalie because I'm going to play him back-to-back tomorrow, and I'm going to give him the rest of the night off because it doesn't look like we're going to win this game. So there was a variety of reasons why I did it, and they filled a large gamut of approaches in terms of what was going on in the game, what was happening in the standings, who we were playing, divisional rival, the scheduling, back-to-back games, or time to rest or respond, or just a variety number of reasons. But the bottom line is I played the best goalies more often than others, and others coaches started to follow. But for example, when I had Grant Fuhr, I think I played Grant 90% of the games, if not more. And I said to him, I said, Grant, just show up for the games and in the morning skate, the rest of the time go golfing. So he loved that idea. But it worked, and he was exceptional. And they all respond differently. I had 7 Vezina Trophy winners in my career, and they were all quirky and different in their own ways, but they all responded pretty well. And the results of them winning those Vezinas and Stanley Cup in Mike Richter's case were proof that they could take the workload, and they understood the philosophy.
Coach, thank you so much for your time, all your great insight. It is so great to see you. Good health to you and your family here. It's so great to have you on. It's so nice to see you.
Appreciate it, and safe. Everyone in New York, please be disciplined enough to respect what's going on, and we'll all come out of this a winner.
All right, coming up next year on the MSG 150 at Home, Steve and I will be rejoined by Alan and Monica to talk about Tom Brady having some workout issues in Tampa. We'll explain that when we come back right after this.